Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer once again. My name is Daz and today we're going to be having a look at the Norn Thief in the Guild Wars 2 stress test. Yesterday we did the Human Guardian. I'll put an annotation on the screen so you can check that out if you missed it. So the Thief is a ranged or melee class in Guild Wars 2. It uses a little bit of stealth and lots of daggers and stabby stabby and shooty shooty. And we're going to go into gameplay a little bit further along this time. I'm about level 4 or 5 here. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is underwater combat in Guild Wars 2, which is completely different to most other MMOs and games in general, to be honest. So there's no breath meter, you can stay under as long as you like, you don't need to worry about dying. And when you go underwater you get a completely new weapon set. So there are, as well as being on land weapons, there are underwater weapons as well. So I have a spear here, and I believe the Thief can use a ranged weapon as well. I think it's a spear gun or a trident or something. And each class has their own unique underwater weapons and skills as well. And they all kind of emphasise kind of working in a 3D space with the Z-axis that you get underwater. So there's lots of like 3D control spells like nets, which will snare anything that goes into it, that cover a wide area and things like that. So I noticed this event kicking off over here, so I wandered over to have a look at what's happening. Turns out all these Sons of Svaned dudes are trying to ruin this temple, so we're going to ruin them instead. And you notice that my above ground weapon is a short bow at the moment. This is kind of a medium range AoE weapon, lots of AoE effects like that explosion you just saw there. That's the number 2 skill. As you see, I actually get owned here by some wolves, which is disappointing. The Thief is a bit more fragile than the Guardian. But again, you have lots of stealth abilities to get out of harm's way. I've seen lots of other players have died there as well, so I'm not feeling too bad about that. So here we are a bit later. I noticed there's a new dynamic event kicking off here to collect ore from this mine. So we're going to go and have a look what's going on there. So I've actually got a pistol and dagger equipped at the moment, I believe. Yep, the pistol's in my main hand and the dagger is in my offhand. And the Thief's skills with the multiple weapon types work a bit differently to the Guardian. So the 1 and 2 skills are the pistol skills, the 4 and 5 skills are dagger skills, and the number 3 skill is a combination of whatever you've got equipped at the time. So with the dagger and pistol equipped, the number 3 skill is you stab the person in melee and then stealth back into a ranged position so you can use your pistol some more. And what I actually found out is that if you swap the weapons around, so you have a dagger in the main hand and a pistol in the offhand, which is the opposite of what I've got now, the 3 skill actually changes to a dagger orientated skill rather than a pistol one. So we're collecting dredge ore from this mine, and there are various other tasks we can do to achieve that as well, such as breaking their mining equipment and their checkpoints and things like that. You can see here using the dodge mechanic to avoid some damage. Generally at the low levels you really don't need to dodge, it kind of introduces the mechanic to you slowly over time, but once you get to about level 8 to 10 it really does start to become sort of mandatory in your play to avoid damage. Like I mentioned in the Guardian video, that enemies do hurt a lot in melee, and some of the attacks that they can do aren't really signposted as well as they could be at the moment. Maybe this will change in the full release of the game. So melee can be fairly deadly if you don't know what you're doing. If you just kind of stand there and take damage, you're going to die very quickly. So abilities that get you away from the opponent or just dodging is a great way to keep yourself alive. So I've noticed here that the event I was doing is actually finished. It doesn't need any more ore, but you actually have time to run back and hand in what you've got, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. This is a great feature, and I've had to use it a couple of times. But as you can pick up multiple items, you never know when someone's going to hand in a boatload of items and complete the event. So you do have time to hand everything in, which is great. You see there, the event just finished and I got gold completion for it, even though I handed in all my items after it supposedly finished. And now I've come across a new Renown Heart event here. Honour the Spirit of the Wolf, which generally involves taking out these dragon banners and killing more Sons of Svanir dudes. Now you see I'm about to unlock the 3 skill here for my pistol dagger combination. Here you go, Shadow Strike. So I shall demonstrate. So you hit the guy and then it teleports you back to range, which is very handy. And if I was to equip the dagger in the main hand and the pistol in the offhand, I would get an ability called Shadow Shot, which will blind the enemy for 5 seconds with the pistol and teleport me into melee range. So you can see how the different weapon combinations affect the number 3 skill there. And again, there are different combo skills with, the swords and all the weapon types like that. So it's quite an involved weapon system for the thief. I really like it. A lot of variation there. Things start getting a bit hairy there, so I use my 6th skill, the heal, which also stealths me, so I can get out of harm's way. And then I just decide to run. So let's skip on a bit to the end of this event. So it just involves killing a bunch more dudes. There we go. So these Renown Hearts give you a bunch of experience, which is very cool. And then I stumbled upon this village, or should I say ex-village, with a bunch of wolves in it, which I thought was odd. And it turns out this is the end of a dynamic event that happens, and I came back later to find the event in progress. So it turns out the Sons of Svanir set up a base here, and a dynamic event starts for you to clear it out, with help from wolves from further down the valley. So there you go, see them all running in there. I thought this was a great example of how the world reacts to what's happening. So the event earlier with the wolves, which unfortunately I didn't get any footage of, but there's a dynamic event involving helping the wolves to hunt for prey. And if that event succeeds, then a new event kicks off. If the Sons of Svanir have moved into this camp, the wolves will help you to defeat them. So that's a great example about how the dynamic event system works. Okay, so this is the skill menu. As you can see, I have 1 unspent skill points. Again, you get skill points for leveling and for skill challenges. which are hidden around the world. So these are all the utility skills I can unlock here. You see, I can choose any skill I want. I just have to save up the points for them, so I can unlock them in any order. So I can just pick what I think is cool. And you can see the heal skills at the top there. There are 3 heals available for the thief class. I mean, they all heal you, but they have different secondary effects as well, so you can pick whatever's most interesting to you there. And then right at the bottom, there's all the elite skills. So this is a bit further on level 6 or 7 or so. And I came across this rather badass looking tree elemental thing. As you can see, he's got a kind of bronze border around his portrait at the top, which means he's tougher than a regular enemy. So I figured I'd try and take him down. Luckily for me, a bunch of other players turned up to help as well, because I don't think I would have been able to do it solo. It's a great example of kind of a flashpoint moment where one guy decides to take on an enemy and then a bunch of other people turn up to help without having to ask for help or anything like that. It's a great example of how the cooperation works in this game. And here we are a bit later. This is a skill challenge. Again, these are hidden around the world, and should you complete whatever they ask you to do, they will give you a skill point to spend on new abilities. So this guy just wants to fight me. I'll gladly oblige. Now right now I have a dagger in the main hand and a pistol in the offhand, which is why you're seeing a lot more dagger based abilities. So with the dagger, the number 2 skill is a Heart Seeker, which does more damage the lower health the mob is at. This guy turned out to be pretty hard. I was fighting him for a while. But there we go, we get a bunch of experience and we get a skill point for defeating him.
Never sleeps.
Now again, a bit later on, I think I'm level 8 or 9 now, and we find this, again, this guy has a gold portrait, so he's like a super hard boss. I'm guessing some players in the area just completed a dynamic event, which spawned him. So me and this other player decided to try and take him down. Oh, little did we know. This was a very bad idea with just 2 people. So as you can see, our attacks aren't even scratching his health pool at the moment. But we are not deterred, we will fight to the death. As you can see, that guy's been knocked down. I'm going to try and revive him, but the boss is just too strong, so I'm going to stealth and get the hell out of there. Unfortunately, he notices me again. So I'm going to have to start using my skills and dodge to get out of there. So I tried to pull him back to the village. I figured all the NPC guards here might help. Turns out that's not the case, but there were a bunch of players here which decided to help out instead. This lets me talk a little bit about the combo system, which I haven't really discussed yet. So certain effects which you place on the ground using your weapons can create combo fields. So for instance here I'm shooting the poison clouds down onto the ground, and then when other players shoot projectiles through that poison field, those projectiles will inherit a poison effect. And the same with the fire effect there. When I shoot through the fire, my arrows will actually set alight and do extra damage to whatever's behind it. And all the classes can create these combo fields, and of course different weapons can create different types of combo fields depending on what their effects are. So again, it's just another way of enforcing player cooperation, rewarding it too. If you play with friends, then you're going to get a lot more damage out of your abilities due to these combo fields.
I pray to the spirits of the wild.
So we're taking down that boss guy, and now a new event kicks off where we have to escort a Dolyak, which is basically a pack mule. And the Sons of Svana have set up roadblocks along the path here, so we're going to have to clear them out. See, I'm using the short bow again, so lots of AoE attacks. So you've got the poison AoE, you've got the explosive shot, and the number 3 skill is a gap creator between you and the enemy. You kind of dive backwards and cripple the enemy also, I believe. So you can see here the Sons of Svana have set up these ballistas on top of the hills. So you have to take them down also. They do a fair amount of damage when you get hit by them. They knock you down as well. So there's quite a few players in this area, so it's actually quite an easy event. It just takes a while, so we're going to skip ahead a bit in a moment. So here we are near the end of the escort event. One final attempt from the Sons of Svanir to stop us, but I don't think they're going to be successful. Not with this many players around. Maybe this event doesn't quite scale to the amount of players as well as it should. It was very easy. Good fun though. As you can see, I've unlocked weapon swapping, which means that I can swap between a main set of weapons and a secondary set of weapons while in combat, which again increases the diversity of the combat system. So you can see here, I can equip a bow in the second slot there, and then I can swap between my dagger pistol and bow using a hotkey in combat. So again, that's just another layer of complexity to the combat system. So you could have melee weapons in your primary set and then ranged weapons in your secondary set, or you could have another melee weapon in your offset. It's completely up to you how you want to do that. So this is our final piece here. A little bit low level for this area, but I noticed the kind of eye-catching UI element in the corner there, where it says the Frozen Moor. It looked kind of important, so I went to have a look. And turns out it was one hell of an epic event. As you can see, a lot of players have been drawn here. Nothing too interesting at the moment. We've just got to protect some guy.
That is a totem to Christ. Destroy that foul totem. The dragon cannot take the Grawl. They're a pain, but they are our pain.
So he wants us to destroy these totems. Sounds easy, right? Yeah, not so easy it turns out. So lots of enemies start turning up. And again, as I'm quite low level, I tend to die fairly quickly. Luckily I managed to rally here by killing the enemy. When you get sent into that down state, that's when you get to 0 health, you get knocked down like that. But if you manage to kill an enemy while you're down in that state, you rally and get back up again. It's a great mechanic. It keeps the action fast. If there aren't any enemies around when you get knocked down, you can use the number 4 skill in the down state ability bar, which will slowly heal you back to full and you can get up again. But if you take damage while doing that, it'll interrupt the heal, and you'll be screwed. So now this guy turns up, and he's going to commence all kinds of unpleasantness. We are not prepared. So I figured we'd just have to take this guy down and that would be it. And then in a minute I look behind me and I see all kinds of unpleasantness.
I'm dying.
So you can see here I'd start using the 4 skill to heal myself, but then something just hits me and I die. So you can see that off in the distance there are also all these portals that have opened with a ton of ice elementals guarding them. Bad news for us. You can see we've also got all those Sons of Svanir bosses in the background there as well. And there are a boatload of players in this area, so the game is just spawning a ton of enemies. And they've all got AoE attacks. I believe I read somewhere that the enemies spawned by events actually gain additional abilities depending on how many players are in the area, so I'm guessing that as there are tons of players in this area, all these mobs doing like AoE attacks and things like that to damage multiple players at once. You can see I'm having to dodge out the way of a bunch of these red circles on the floor. I get knocked down again there. So it became obvious that we had to take down these portals first, as it just kept spawning reinforcement waves of enemies. Kind of obvious, but you know, in the middle of combat, this crazy event going on there, we're just kind of fighting for our lives. So we start clearing our way over there and taking them down. You see I've got the dual pistols now, so the number 3 skill is again, it's kind of an ability that uses both hand weapons. So we've got a unload ability which just fires a bunch of bullets in the direction of the enemy. Really fun ability, I really like it. So the number 4 ability is a headshot, which dazes the enemy and interrupts any attack they may be doing. And the number 5 skill is now I have to remember what it was. I believe it was some kind of like black powder or gunpowder ability, where you kind of create a smoke bomb on the ground and it kind of blinds enemies in it, I believe. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so we've just taken down the last portal, and then that kicks off the final phase of the event, where this Svanir Shaman guy is immensely pissed off with us for ruining his plans, and is going to proceed to grind us all into dust. Give it his best shot anyway. Now again, I'm not doing much damage to him because I think I'm a couple of levels too low for this really, but I wasn't going to sit it out. You see I'm doing a lot of glancing damage. I think that's a mechanic to keep low level people from killing high level mobs easily. You see here lots of red circles on the ground, which do AoE damage if you stand in them. You see they've appeared again now. I didn't notice this time, and it practically one-shots me here. So I shall run back and try again. This a bit later on, we've got it down to half health. He started spawning sort of ice tornadoes. You see he's actually turned into an ice monster himself, so I'm guessing he's gained new abilities as well. This guy took a long time to kill. My god, did he take a long time to kill. You see there's a lot of down players on the ground. I actually tried to start reviving some of them here, as I wasn't doing too much damage to the boss. So I died one more time, but managed to run back just in time to get a few killing blows in, and there it is. He's down. So I only got bronze completion, unfortunately. I'm guessing that's because I did so little damage, because I was a bit low level. But it was great fun nonetheless. It's great to see these raid style encounters in the starting zone. Again, I'm only like level 10-ish, I think. 9, 10. And this isn't even the first one I've seen. At the beginning of the Norn area there's a raid style boss as well, so it seems like they're in every single zone, which is great. Now the final clip I wanted to show you is this one. I was exploring out in the world. This is a bit out of the way, and I found this kind of interesting looking area. Lots of ravens around it. I'm guessing it's some sort of skill challenge or something. See, it's called the Shaman's Rookery. It's got kind of a jumping puzzle going on here. This guy wasn't too pleased to see me. It turns out I'm not exactly doing much damage to him. We're going to give it a go nonetheless. You can see I've got double daggers in my offhand, so the number 3 skill is actually a skill called Leaping Death Blossom, which is awesome. You kind of leap through the air and do all kinds of dagger attacks while you're doing it.
Need some healing.
Now unfortunately I kind of dodged myself off the platform though, and to my death. So I never actually got to see what was at the end of this.
I'm dying.
But it was interesting to find nonetheless, because it was well off the beaten track. So, that was the Norn Thief, guys, in the starting zone and a little bit after. Really enjoyed the Thief class, quite interesting, very versatile in its weapon setups. So last but not least, in the next couple of days I will bring you a Char Warrior video, which is the last bit of footage I've got. So until then, I will see you guys next time.